right, so before we get started on actually solving these problems, I want to make sure we know what the order of operations is. So our G is going to stand for grouping. And we actually are not going to talk about grouping today. I just want you to be aware that that is always the first step when you're simplifying expressions, okay? After you're done simplifying all of your grouping, then we are going to simplify the exponents. And again, we're not actually going to see exponents today. I'm going to be introducing one thing at a time, and grouping and exponents will be another day. Okay. Does anybody remember what the M and the D stand for? Alex.
Multiplication and dividing.
Yes. And we have them on that same, yeah, Chelsea.
Oh, I was going to do the next one.
Oh, okay. Hold on a sec. We have them on the same line because they're basically the same step. You're going to multiply and divide from left to right. Okay? So whichever comes first. It's not necessarily always your multiplication first. It's whatever comes first in your equation. So we're going to multiply and divide. And then I'm going to put in parentheses here. Left to right. Like you're reading a book. Like you would read from left to right in a book. That's how you would solve your multiplication and division. Okay. Next, and the very last step, go ahead, Chelsea. Adding and subtracting. Yes, good. That's the last thing that we are going to do. Okay. So adding and subtracting, and just like the multiplying and dividing, we do it from left to right. Now we're going to start solving these. So if you have a highlighter or a colored pencil, I would like you to take that out. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to be highlighting the operation that needs to be done first, okay? Like I said, we're not going to be doing grouping and exponents. We're going to be multiplying and dividing and adding and subtracting only today, okay? And since multiplying and dividing comes first, that is the operation we're going to complete first. So on this first one, this is the part that we want to do first. We want to multiply. And just a reminder that anytime a number is right next to your parentheses with no symbol between, that means multiplication. The other thing I want you to get in the habit of doing is doing your work underneath your work, so that as we go down one step at a time, we're simplifying. Okay, so 2 times 4 is 8. Bring everything else down. Now, in this case, we only have one operation left to do. What is negative 8 plus 8? Just say it out.
0.
0. That's a 0 pair, right? -8 plus a +8. You land at 0. And then we can circle our answer. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Let's see what's happening here, because there's a lot of symbols. I want to make sure we don't get all jumbled up. This is -5 minus -2 times -3. So because this is multiplication right here, whenever you have two sets of parentheses touching each other with no symbols in between, we always assume it's multiplication. So we're just going to do this operation first. So -2 times -3 is what? Say it out. +6. Good. Okay, and then I'm going to bring everything else down exactly the way that it was. And then we're going to finish that last operation. Okay, I'm going to keep it switch, switch. So keep it switch, switch. So that is -5 plus -6. Yes, good. Okay, why don't you guys try this one on your own real quick. You have to think which operation comes first, the division or the addition. Okay, try that. Revert back to just going from left to right. So they would add first and then they would multiply, which is why we're going to be spending quite a bit of time on this. We want to make sure that you guys are doing those operations in the order that they are intended to be done, okay? So for this one, there's a division and an addition. So because division comes first, we want to divide first. So -24 divided by 8. -3, right? Bring everything else down. And at this point, there's only one operation left. -3 plus -3 is what? -6. Fabulous. Okay. All right, let's take a look at what happens when we have more operations going on here. The key is just figuring out what's happening in the problem, right? We have division, addition, and multiplication. Well, we want to do multiplication and division from left to right. Since we have division and multiplication here and here, we always do the one on the left first. So I am going to do this operation first. So 20 divided by -2 is -10. Bring everything else down. So we're getting to a couple more steps, okay? Now, we still don't have this simplified yet. We have addition here and multiplication here. Which one comes first, addition or multiplication?
Multiplication.
Very good. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. 8 times -2 is -16. Bring everything else down. And you have one last operation. The signs are the same, so we're going to find the sums. And because they're both negative, our answer will be negative. So this will be, that bell, I'm telling you, still. It's a pointless bell. So you should be getting -26. Okay. Let me walk you through another one, and then you can try this last one on your own, okay? All right. Let's take a look. We're subtracting. We're dividing. We're adding. We're multiplying. Since we want to multiply and divide first, we're going to hone in on those. We have division and multiplication. We want to go from left to right, so I'm going to do the one on the left first. Okay. -4 divided by 2 will be -2. And this is why it's important to do your work down. You're going to see here in a minute. We want to copy everything else down that we haven't done yet. And we want to keep track of all of our symbols too. So I brought down that subtraction. This was -2. I put the parentheses there to separate it. Okay. Now we have subtraction, addition, multiplication. So we want to do our multiplication next. (10) times -2 is -20. Bring everything else down. Okay. Now we have subtraction and subtraction, and we want to do it from left to right. So we're going to do this subtraction first. I'm going to keep it, switch, switch. So this will be -2 plus a +2 is 0. 0 minus 20?
-20.
Fabulous, -20. Now you know you're doing this right when your work looks like a triangle. You see that? How it all comes down to one thing? Because our problems are only going to be getting bigger. And if we're not organizing our work, it's just going to be all over the place. Kaden, we did some really big problems last year, right? Yeah, it gets crazy, okay? So trust me, we want to keep organized. We want to make sure we're doing that work down one row at a time, okay? Now let's take a look at this. We have division, addition, subtraction, division. So we want to multiply and divide first, so those are right here. We want to do the one on the left first. Okay, so 8 divided by -8 will be -1. And then I'm going to bring everything else down. Okay. Now we have 11 divided by -11, because we need to finish off our division before we do any other operations. So I'm going to bring everything down. 11 divided by -11 is -1. Now we want to add or subtract from left to right. So we're going to do this addition first. John, is a fly attacking you? Me too. I feel you. Okay. -1 plus 2 is +1. Bring everything else down. Now we want to keep it switch. So this will become 1 plus 1, which is 2. So now you see why we're practicing our math facts every day, because you're going to be using them a ton. So we want to make sure we're super quick with that addition, subtraction, multiplying, and dividing of integers, okay? So what I want you to do now is I want you to flip your page over and get started on that homework while Miss Lakey and I are here to help you. If you finish early, I have a couple options. You can either work on iReady, or I have a coloring puzzle that I can put on the back table for you, okay?